You are now entering your heaven, the world of the soul you have created. Thus, life in two worlds. Your participation in the life of the higher world, the transformation of your eternal individuality into a master disciple, and of your environment into a sanctuary, become concrete and alive. You remember, without a teacher, there is no progress. One cannot pass without the teacher. One cannot advance without him. One cannot attain without him. Therefore, only the entry into the ashram of your teacher is the true beginning of your spiritual path. Thus, you create the best conditions for the growth of your pupil, your eternal individuality. One cannot realize the great teaching without the fiery teacher, without the striving of the spirit to the world of the teacher. The manifestation of the fiery teacher is the path to the fiery world. The present time is suffering not so much from a lack of high ideas or ideals, but from the fact that that which was recognized as good, right, and salutary is not being put into practice. As long as the teacher simply instructs in the fundamentals of life, he will be listened to and agreed with. But as soon as he appeals to people to actually apply his precepts, the listeners disperse. If you wish not to make just idle talk about Agni Yoga, but to prove that you actually are a spiritual disciple, you must take up residence in the world of your teacher. This is how you make your dream of starting a new life come true. This is the beginning of the heroism of the new age, which will truly change the world. The commonplace life is over, and the dawn of heroic deeds has begun. What, then, can lift us above the chaos of mediocrity, if not the wings of achievement? The world will be shaken with the reality of heroism. This step is no small thing, but the greatest and most difficult project a man can undertake. You may enter for a trial period and leave the master's ashram at any time, but at least for one day you have to make a clear decision. You can only cross the threshold or stay outside the door. There is nothing in between. The time of choosing has come, and there is no middle course on the path to the fiery world. I have a wife and children, my job. Also, I have to look after my elderly parents. How can I nevertheless enter an ashram? This is why we are now talking about entry in spirit, which is possible for everyone in any circumstances. I don't see an incarnated teacher with a physical ashram to join either. Then you will have to move into the ashram your teacher has in the subtle world. Religion says, he who goes to the fathers will dwell with them. He who goes to the angels will dwell with them. And he who goes to God will dwell with him. It means that a person who sets himself the maximum degree of progress will arrive at the best attainment. In the spiritual world, there are the most beautiful ashrams, because without the limitations of matter, time and space, it is easier than on earth for the Guru to build his wonderful world and to attract kindred spirits. In the subtle world, there are also ashrams of the White Brotherhood. Just as on earth, they are not numerous, for there also great discipline and tense labor are demanded. And where are those who are willing to give themselves to greater labor instead of the promised rest? There you enter. You are going to live physically in normal, everyday earthly life, and in spirit in the supramundane abode of your teacher. This is an inner process which does not necessarily need to be expressed to the outside world. So, at first, you hardly have to change anything at all in the external circumstances of your life. You continue to live with your family, go about your work as before, and remain in the habitual sphere of life. A yogi can pass through life unnoticed. You do not need to make yourself known as a monk of an inner monastery to the ignorant, from whom you can expect nothing but incomprehension and hostility anyway. In the midst of the maddened crowd, keep the fire of the spirit concealed. Living in the ashram is a state of your consciousness. The supermundane is not simply a realm. It is also a level of consciousness. I'm sorry, but I don't understand that. Well, you live with unaltered external conditions as if your dwelling were a temple and as if your teacher were present there. For this, you only have to change your mental attitude. Dostoevsky also knew about the path of the interior ashram. Let us listen to what advice Father Tikhon gives to the evildoer Stavrogin in the novel The Demons. No, not church penance. I have something else in mind for you. I know a starets, not here, but not far away, a hermit and skimnik of such Christian wisdom as you and I will never be able to comprehend. He will listen to my pleas. I will tell him all about you. Go and follow him, initially for 5 years, or for 7, for as long as you yourself deem necessary. Make a vow to yourself, and by this great sacrifice purchase all that you long for, even that which you do not expect, for you cannot yet comprehend what will be given to you. You are proposing that I enter that monastery as a monk? You do not have to enter a monastery. You don't need to receive the tonsure. Just serve him, secretly, not publicly. That is possible. While doing so, you can live completely in the world. By entering the ashram, you join the invisible supra-temporal community of all those who walk the spiritual path. Although I am a typical loner in my daily life, my awareness of belonging to the invisible community of those who strive for truth, beauty and justice has prevented me from feelings of isolation. You affirm your incorporation into the hierarchy. How does the entry take place in concrete terms? Very simply, all you need is a quarter of an hour in the morning. Start the day a little earlier than usual. Place yourself in spirit in your supermundane home and at the feet of your teacher, as we discussed in more detail in the video Communion with the Higher World meditation. Stepping before the teacher daily is the basis for a life in his spiritual presence. The teacher accepts you as a disciple for the moment for trial. He receives you into the community of the ashram. In the course of the day, you descend into the world in order to work, to learn and to help there, exclusively on higher orders. In the evening, as at death, you return to your heaven, the ashram. As at death, you give an account of what you did or did not do during the day. You repair some of the damage that your armor has suffered in the battles of the world. You consult with your master and your fellow disciples on how you can do better tomorrow.